This is Prunus Chaussard, and you can see absolutely covered in pink, and the pink effect is primarily because the amount of flower, but also because, as so often, it's flowering before the leaves or even the leaf buds have opened. So there's no green on it at the moment, just pure pink. And it's sitting here outside the accounts office, giving a great display. It doesn't last very long. It's very short flowering, but it's worth it for the effect when it's in flower. We've underplanted it with some anemones, the woodland anemone, Anemone nemorosa, you can see. These are happy here because this border does get a bit of shade. We're in shade at the moment and the sun doesn't come round here till just after lunch, which is different from the other side, only, let's say, 4 meters away, round the pavilion building, and there that gets sun much earlier, so it's much hotter and drier. But we've got these super anemones which are just establishing themselves. We've also got all the greens underneath of the plants that will be growing up and filling this border through the season, including some silvers which offset all those greens. So we've got the silver of Bolotta just underneath the prunus, and you might be able to see in the back we've got the silver of Artemisia ludoviciana Valerie finis, a really valuable plant for both these borders because the silver offsets all the different greens that we've got in the border. Ojo no Mai, so one of the dwarf Fuji cherries. And it's actually just going over now. And you can see the flowers are going over, they're getting much pinker, and you can see the leaves are just coming out. But this has been beautiful, and this one flowers, and then as this one goes over, the Prunus Chaussard beside the anniversary building starts to flower, and as Prunus Chaussard goes over, then we've got Prunus Hilarii Spire, which we can show you at the front of the Porter's Lodge. So there's a succession of cherry. And we've got this anemone as well, which is a form of Anemone apennina. And we had this planted a long time ago down at the far end of college behind the JDP Music Theatre. And it was happily spreading, minding its own business. So we lifted it and we planted various sections around these hydrangea quercifolia, and then we've added to them, and you can see how happy it is. It's just spreading, it does really well. You forget it's there, and then in February the leaves suddenly appear, and then you get these dazzling blue flowers. They're quite a strong mid-blue, which are definitely blue, but then they've got this wash of mauve. Really attractive, held high above the leaves, and can cope with the fact that they're in a wind tunnel. They get super battered by the wind, but don't seem to mind at all. And hopefully it will just keep spreading to cover most of the bed. Beside the principal's lodgings, between this beech hedge of the principal's lodgings and the beech hedge of the rose garden, and it's an area we've long wanted to plant up with bulbs, and we were given some money by some kind alumni last year, and so we bit the bullet and we planted. And you can see this is its first season. It was only planted in November and the grass was sown late November, so it's just starting to get going. Some of the plants, the narcissus for example, will be earlier next year. It's just they were planted late and it's their first year. The aim is to have a succession of bulbs. So we start with the early crocus, and we've got some winter aconite, some Eranthus ciliata, and then we've got a succession of narcissus, as well as some Tulipa turkistanica, and then later we'll get some Camassia and some allium, hopefully, with some fritillary along the way. So we hope to have a succession from late January, early February, all the way through till May. And you can see we've got a path coming all the way down through it to a bench at the bottom so that people can enjoy being in the midst of the bulb meadow.